On a night where the Rangers ring in the new year by getting rung up on home ice. A rare strikeout for the Rangers. In fact, their worst loss this season in terms of the deficit. 6-1 the final. Carolina over the Rangers on Garden Ice. Inside the Delta MSG studios alongside Steve Alliquette, I'm John Giannone. Maybe not that the Rangers lost tonight, but how the Rangers lost is maybe the most eye-opening part.
Sure. It's very difficult if you don't create anything at 5-on-5, and then when you're on the power play, you can't get in the zone and get set up. That has been what has saved the Rangers on nights like this during a year that they've had so much success, is when they've struggled at 5-on-5, they make up for it on the power play, and they just couldn't get going. Now, you're gonna have to game plan for a team like Carolina because they play a unique style. They hunt you all over the ice. There's always somebody open around the net. The Rangers just weren't able to get the puck there and deliver it, in which would create more chaos off of a deflection that Carolina allows a lot of. The thing that has really surprised me about this iteration of the team is after several years of always being one of those top teams that just shoots the clear view shot at the goalie, they've now become an East-West team. They're more dangerous offensively than they were in years past. I said this off the top in case you weren't tuned in. They have 34 goals coming into this one, east to west. That's most in the NHL. That is one of the most surprising moments I've had this year preparing for a Ranger game. It really snuck up on me because Carolina, that's not who they are. That's why Carolina's never won, because when they get in the playoffs, they can't score. And now I'm looking at them, they can defend and they can score. It's going to be a tough out for the Rangers, but the next time they play Carolina, they have to adjust a lot, starting with being able to get through the neutral zone.
Yeah, don't look now. Carolina just 5 back of the Rangers in the Metro Division. Of course, the Rangers do have 2 games in hand. They scored 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 more in the third, all against Igor Shesterkin. He allowed 6 tonight after allowing only 8 during the recent 5-game winning streak that was snapped this evening. Take a look at the goals tonight, Steve, and maybe break it down through Igor Shesterkin's eyes, how these goals were scored.
Sure, and look, when you allow 6, you're trying to break it down and just decipher what is team responsibility, what is my responsibility. The easiest way to look at it, if it happens on the same side of the ice, it's the goalie's responsibility. Just start there. No screen, one-timer, nice shot. But don't forget, that's a righty, lefty rather, going across your body from the right side of the ice. Shouldn't be something. And this one here for him, he gives the puck away. It's one that you should have frozen, so you're going to take responsibility for that. And then this is a slow pass up top, above the top of the circles, so minimal movement. And that happens to go in because there wasn't a little more fight through the screen. Now, this is where it gets hard. This is goal number 2 on the night. It's through the box on the power play to Svechnikov. It's a hard movement east to west for Igor there. That's a team goal. This is also a team goal. He got beat around both D and then went in on a partial breakaway and crossed the middle of the ice. And that play right there for Bunting, goal number 6, went across the ice twice. That's a team goal. And things got loose as the game went on, but it got away from Igor again. And the one thing that Igor, he's still the top guy talent-wise. For whatever reason, the game seems to get away from him when he gives up 2 or more. That's where his save percentage has suffered this year. The game gets away from him, and I think the psychology of it from him is that he believes he's the best in the league. I know that he does. If you ask him, not certainly on the public forum, but I'm sure one-on-one he'd say, yeah, I believe I'm the best in the league. So his expectations are so high so that when the loss becomes lopsided, it seems to just cave in and get worse because he gets frustrated mentally. He's probably saying to himself, how am I down 3-1 right now? And then it becomes 4-5-6.
Right, yeah, so that's the second time in 3 weeks that Shesterkin has allowed a season-high 6 goals. He did against Toronto back on December 12th. Maybe a good place to gauge the reaction tonight is at the captain's locker inside the dressing room. Michelle Gingras with Jacob Trouba.
So, Jacob, for you, where did it feel like things just didn't go your way tonight?
Well, I think early in the first, obviously the penalty kill goal. I gave up another one and then kind of had a little bit of a pushback, and then after we gave up that third one, it wasn't a lot of grind back. Yeah, it's not not what we want to see, especially on home ice, not the team we want to be.
Did it feel like more self-inflicted errors tonight, or just a combination of what Carolina was doing well defending as well?
Some of both. I think a lot of it was probably self-inflicted. Just turnovers and not enough grind or real compete. Yeah, that's what's going to happen when you play games like that. There's no easy games, especially a divisional game at home. There's no reason for us to show up and play that game.
Jake, if you look at the first two periods, I think it was only 14 shots on goal allowed for you guys. I mean, do you feel like there was a period of the game where you guys were right there and then it kind of slipped away as it went on?
Yeah, I thought when we got our one goal, I think there was a little bit more momentum and jam in the building, and then give up one quick after that, and then just wasn't much of a pushback after that. Which I think was stating the obvious. I don't think that's anything secretive. Yeah, and then come out in the third and go up the early one and just kind of, no pushback.
Special teams has been so reliable for you guys all year, but tonight, do you feel like that was obviously a big difference there?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to win many games. You lose the special teams game that bad. I think, like you said, it has been pretty good all year. I think giving up 2 in the first on the PK isn't something we're used to. And yeah, that's tough to overcome.
Yeah.
Tough to overcome, says Jacob Trouba. A couple things that jumped out. He said no reason to show up and play that game. And also he talked about the lack of grind or compete from his team. From ice level between the benches, I kind of did sense that there wasn't quite enough there to get to pucks. Mm-hmm. And Carolina is really good, as Michael Pekka had told me, between periods at getting to and hunting down pucks.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Well, I thought that there was grind in the first, but getting down a couple changes things drastically. I certainly wanted to see the Rangers set the tone on Aho and be harder on him and then take away his wingers. That didn't seem to really happen a lot. The physicality in the game certainly was there in the first period where it was chippy, but then when the score gets lopsided and away from the Rangers a little bit, you run a risk of trying to go after people and then having more power plays for them, and then it hurts your starter even more, and you have to be conscious of that. So it's a tough one to measure for me as far as that goes, physicality-wise, grind-wise. It's hard to outgrind Carolina just by reputation. To me, the best defensive performance I've ever seen in the NHL was the Ayers game, where the Zamboni driver came in from Toronto and played in goal for Carolina. Those guys have known how to defend for the last 10 years. And under Rod Brindamore, they play a certain style that's very hard to play against. If you're not ready to play them, they'll make you look bad, and that was the case.
They only have one loss in their last 11, one regulation loss, that is. They're 7-1-3. Yeah. What's different about these last 11 than what we saw for so much of the first 2
They're
months?
starting to get saves, John. You know, like they went through one of the most horrific stretches of goaltending that I've seen, and that can oftentimes unravel everything in your game. And structure-wise, it gets stretched out. One of the biggest issues you have with structure is if your goalie's not stopping the straight-on one, then you start cheating to that guy, and it opens up the east to west. And we said this at one point tonight, I think it was during intermission, the goalies in Carolina gave up 20 bad goals up until this point in the season. The Rangers have only given up 5. You know, like that, there's a big difference there. 15 goals in the NHL. I mean, that's the difference in the standings right now.
For sure. And when you consider what happened tonight, the Hurricanes score within the first 2 minutes. They score in the last 31 seconds of the first period. That gave them a 2-0 lead. Early goals, late goals can always have an impact. That second goal that Svechnikov scored, also on the power play. Let's go inside the film room, powered by CDW. Break it down for us and why that goal mattered so much.
So it matters to me because of the pre-scout on Aho, because Aho, in 2 years, has not scored on a clear shot from outside the slot. So he's not a threat at all up here. And you really leave him, and you take away what's around the net. Now, there's 4 Rangers below the tops of the circles, and there's 3 Carolina players, but all 3 are outside the slot. Now, you can't risk over chasing, but he's certainly a stick length away, and you need to have a good stick when Aho has the puck, because all of your consciousness has to be on who's to my left, who's to my right. and they weren't just alert. And I like you always say that there's no there.
Yeah.
There was no intensity. There was no alert play. And if the focus wanes like that against these guys, and as hot as Aho has been, he's going to shred you. And the penalty kill looked bad tonight because they were stationary and stagnant and standing around with bad sticks.
And the result is the Rangers lose at home for just the 5th time in 17 games. They fall to 25-10-1 on the season.